Well, we're passing through Lithgow and I couldn't resist but coming to check out this place. I've been here a few times, but there's so much more to see and do. We're at the Noons Plateau right here, and as you can see, what a view, magnificent. But there's so much more here. We've got the Zigzag Railway, we've got the Sandstone Gardens, the Glowworm Tunnels, so we're gonna hit them tracks and head on down and see where we get to next.
G'day, my name's Jamie Hazelden and I've been travelling this great country for many years, and what I want to share with you is the great places that I've been to and the places that you can only imagine of getting to. I want to show you and introduce to you some of the colourful characters, sit round a campfire and reminisce and talk about the journey and the places that we're going to go to. So come along with me as I share this journey with you. Proudly supported by and powered by Custom Lithium. Here in the heart of the Gardens of Stone, the landscape unfolds around you, with the sweeping views of the winding Walgan River, the towering cliffs, the Pantanese Crown and Donkey Mountain, and the striking rock formations that make this place iconic. Hidden deep in the bush are the rich, varied habitats, from the alpine grasses and the dwarf heath to the towering eucalyptus that earn the region its World Heritage status.
All right, that's 30 pound. Now the GO3s, the great part about them, as you see this terrain as we're going out here, you'll see that these side bites on the side of the tyre will really grip in and get the grab that you'll see. And that's the great part about having tyres that have some bite around the side of them, as well as your good tread across the top. So by having them fatter, bulge a bit more because of the pressures out of them, will make a huge difference on just tracking out of here. We've got some interesting track to go through here, some deep washouts. So putting the old 130 through the paces because there's a lot of weight here. Woo! Bit of wheel lift there, but it crawls its way through. So all I'm doing is first gear, low range, just crawling my way up through this. The washouts are pretty heavy. But the old girl just pulls through every time. But I must say, the last time I was out through this way, not this track, but another track, we had a lot of fun on that as well. Good terrain.
The track out to Noon Plateau definitely isn't for the average vehicle. You'll want a more capable four-wheel drive, something with low range and a solid ground clearance to handle the terrain.
So Lithgow is the linking part between Bathurst and Sydney. When they were trying to put the roads through from Sydney to Bathurst in 1815 to 1830, that was how they did it. And then not long after that, well, I say not that long, but from 1860 to 1870, that's when they put the railway through. So Lithgow became the hub, what put those areas back on the map there between the two places. And one of the popular attractions here is back from when they were putting the steam trains through, is the Glowworm Tunnels. And I'll tell you a bit more of a story about that when I get there. Well, we've made it to the Glowworm Tunnels and wow, is this place jam-packed. We had a traffic jam getting in here, but let's get on down there and I'll tell you a bit of a story on the way.
Hidden within the Wollamai National Park near Lithgow, the Glowworm Tunnel stretches 387 metres through the ancient sandstone cliffs and terrain. Originally built in the early 1900s as the railway tunnel serving the Noons oil shale mine, it was abandoned in the 1940s. The hike into the Glowworm Tunnel isn't difficult, but it takes a bit of time. There's some stairs to tackle along the way. I'd recommend bringing a water bottle and a few snacks for the journey. But once you arrive, you'll find some benches where you can take a break, catch your breath before heading into the tunnel. The tunnel was carved out by the Walgan Valley Railway, built by the Commonwealth Oil Corporation between 1906 and 1907, spanning 51 kilometres of rugged terrain. It was an engineer marvel of its time. When exploring the tunnel today, it's best to use a torch with a red light for wayfinding. And remember to keep the beam pointed at your feet. Once you exit the far end of the tunnel, you'll step into a stunning valley surrounded by towering rock faces and a lush rainforest-like atmosphere. I noticed a small path leading off into the shrubs and decided to follow it. And to my surprise, it led to a cliff face with hand paintings. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether these original artworks of reproductions, perhaps used in demonstrations of traditional Aboriginal painting technique. Either way, it's a powerful reminder of the cultural significance woven into this landscape. The character of the Lithgow area at the time was predominantly pastoral and characterised by the small number of land holdings such as Woolawang, Currawul and the Hermitage and S-Bank, which were settled by the Scottish immigrants James Walker, Andrew Brown and Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown was a pretty well-known fella back in Lithgow in the 1860s. Reason being, he created a mill. Now they've already got the roads through, the train tracks through, so he started the employment of employing others to do jobs and whatnot. But then he moved on to getting the mill to run with coal, so he started mining coal, which was pretty exciting back then when you think about that, because after mining the coal, then he started selling the coal to the New South Wales government. And then from there, I think he was even involved in selling iron that was mined for the railway.
The growing demand for coal by the New South Wales Railway became a driving force behind the expansion of Lithgow's coal and mining industry. Industrialisation in the region accelerated further as the railway required vast quantities of iron rail. When the iron was discovered just beneath the surface in Lithgow, it sparked a series of efforts to establish an iron and steel production in the area.
Now, I'm just going to prepare a bit of tea for tonight. I've got a little mini roast, so I'm just going to put some garlic in it, just cut some slits, put some in, wrap it all up in some alfoil and put it up in the road chef to start cooking. And then an hour or two down the track, I'm going to put some veggies in there. So I'm just going to cut up some veggies now, get them prepared, so next time we pull up, I can add the veggies into the road chef, and then that way we'll get everything cooking in together, and then all the juices from the meat will go through the veggies, and then it'll be ready for us for tea tonight.
When travelling on the road for weeks at a time, you don't have to have a 12-volt cooker, but boy does it make it easier when you get to camp at night. Well, time to pack the kitchen, continue the trip. The sun's not getting any higher in the sky.
When you're driving on these sort of roads, with the corrugations, the potholes, the washouts, you know, it's really crucial to have good suspension. I'm running the big bores on this, and they're adjustable. Now I can wind the adjustment up or down to how hard or rough the corrugations are. Now it all comes into play because when you're working that suspension hard, it's heating up. And so with the big bore, well, it can soak that heat up, and it rides it really, really well. But an important part is to make sure you set up your suspension to suit your needs, you know, whether you're touring, off-roading, but if you want to go out bush and do some other bits and pieces, you really need to have the right suspension. So it's important to go to the right people to set you up, because you need to know your weights, you know, a bull bar, a winch, you know, a draw system, a fridge. It all comes into the GVM of knowing what's going to be best suited to your vehicle.
Well, we've made it to the Lost City. I've been here a number of times, but I did not realise how spread out and how many areas there was to the Lost City. Now, a good old mate of mine, Vic Widman from Great Divided Tours, named this place back in the 80s. And To think now that it's got a household name for it, but it was from the exploration that was done here, the mining, there's Aboriginal carvings all throughout this whole area. So it's a place to come and spend a few hours or a day wandering around the place just to have a look. There's so much more here to see.
Just heading in to the Mingu Maragu. Now it's a place of Aboriginal. Now I don't know much about it, come to learn a bit about it. Now all I know is it's Blackfellow's Hands. So there's some rock work, artwork all around this area. So go and check it out.
With just a short walk from the car park, a gentle climb in some spots and a few steps along the way, and you'll find yourself standing in a place that feels completely lost in time.
Wow, this place is incredible. This is for the Wurundjeri people. This is a place of significance. Now, as we can see, there's plenty of water here, vegetation, so there's bound to be plenty of bush tucker around the area. But what a special place, and especially the rock art around here.
The cave walls and rock overhangs are adorned with remarkable Aboriginal arts. Hand stencils and images of traditional weapons, some believed to be between 500 and 1600 years old. This artwork offers a window into the past, revealing stories of culture, tradition and beliefs. The cave wasn't just a shelter, it was a sacred site, a place for gathering and a base where women came for birthing practices.
You know, I talk about scars in the scar trees are all in different places. Now, I don't know what they would have used this one for. You know, again, could be for a shelter, could be for a hut, could be for, you know, making a shield, a coolerman or a couple of coolermans. Who knows? But you can see how old it is. An interesting fact, I got asked the other day what a coolerman is. A coolerman is where they cut it out as a little dish, and then they can serve on it, as in your foods and your grains and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it's your eating plate. It's used for so many different things. It just depends on the size you want at the time.
Now maybe it's just me, but this place had such a calming presence. There was a real sense of peace here. And honestly, I could have spent a lot more time just taking it in. But for now, it's time to make tracks and move on.
Well, I've got to say, this is an unbelievable place to come and visit. The rocky escarpments in here are just incredible. I've just been for a walk right through here, and you've got so much to see and discover in the area, you know, like, but just the amazingness of how the rocks are, how they've snapped off and broken off over the years. And I mean, hundreds of thousands, even millions of years. Just amazing. Definitely a place to put on your bucket list to come and check it out when you're coming through Lithgow. If you're into a bit of a hike and a walk and a bit of an explore, this will be it for you. I can spend hours in here. It's quite interesting when you look at how it is, and then you see the trees growing out of the rocks as well. They've been there for a long time. You'd be able to see a bit of this out of the window.
Well, it's time to head off to camp. Once the sun starts dipping down here, the temperature really begins to drop, and I've got a feeling dinner's just about ready.
So now, time to add the veggies in. As you can see, we've got all the juices in there. Now I'd normally add a bit of beer or a bit of wine, but I haven't got any of that, so That's all right. We'll make do with what we do have. Well, by the time we get to camp, dinner should be ready. It'll be beautiful too. Look forward to it. All right, we're back at camp. Now it's time to see. All right. There we go. Look at that. Doesn't get much better than that. Am I looking forward to this? Moral to the story is, you can have whatever food you want on the travel anytime you like. You just need a few little bare necessities, nothing too great, just so you can do all this sort of stuff. But you know, you can make it however you need to make it.
With the temperature dropping up here in the Blue Mountains tonight, I'm pretty glad I started cooking this earlier this afternoon. Now it's time to just tuck in and eat some grub and focus on staying warm for the rest of the night. Waking up bright and early, I made my way to Clarence, the home of the iconic Zigzag Railway.
I think it is so cool how you can still come and visit this place. Like, this is Zigzag Railway. Come and check out the carriage, see how it was back in the day, and it's open to everybody to have a look at and check it out. There is heaps and heaps of stuff to read in here as well. And I'm just looking at some of the stuff, but can you imagine, you look at this old train, all these carriages, and these were the ones that went from Sydney to Bathurst.
At the time, it was considered a world-class innovation, attracting attention from engineers around the globe. But by the early 20th century, the growing size and speed of the trains made the original line inefficient. In a 10-tunnel deviation replaced in 1910, and the zigzag was eventually closed to regular rail traffic.
All aboard!
In the 1970s, a passionate group of volunteers restored the line as a heritage railway. Today, the Zigzag Railway is more than just a ride. It's a journey back through history, offering a glimpse into the pioneering spirit that helped shape New South Wales.
Well, we're going to head off from here. We've had a good look around here. We're going to head to a cave down the road with a bit of Aboriginal art in it. So we're going to go and check that out now.
Now here I am, trying to track down a path to a cave I've been told about. Apparently, it's one of those hidden gems you just can't miss. Did they mean the path or the location?
What are we doing? Well, we're just looking for a cave that it seems that nobody's been to for a long time, and we're just trying to make a trail to it. So it's in a national park, and we're just trying to make our way through to the area.
Just to give you a bit of context, I was using my phone as a compass because with all the rain and storms New South Wales has had lately, the track was barely visible in places. But honestly, I loved it. It felt like I was discovering something for the very first time. And you just can't beat doing stuff like this because getting off the track and walking down in the bush means an awful lot.
Well, it was a bit of a challenge to get here, but this is Peasants Cave. Spectacular once you're here, absolutely spectacular. That waterfall and just the way the rock formations are in this area. There's rocky outcrops the whole way. But when you're in Lithgow, make sure you come down and check this sort of place out, or just go and have a look at the lookouts. There's a lot here.
The hike into the cave took around 2 hours from the time we left the car. I definitely recommend being a little bit fit to take on this because it's not for the faint-hearted, it's not a casual stroll.
It's always interesting. We've just come out onto this plateau and you can see the grindings here where they've got bowls and where they've actually used them for grinding and whatnot, making different stuff. You wouldn't know what it was, but definitely it's going to be for some holdings of some water and whatnot here. Well, this has to be a significant place. When you look at these, like, there's a lot of similarities to the Waginas over in the Kimberleys, just those paintings. But if you look at the carvings up the top, how they'd actually chiseled to drop water off the top edge down, I'm guessing this was just an area of meeting or a place of living. So much history through this area, that's for sure. That's what I love. I love going out and exploring. You've got to get out of the car and go for a walk and a wander and have a look what we've got in this country. There's so much.
There was a story here that goes back thousands of years, back in the dream times. This is just a hearsay that I heard. I don't know how true it is. But what happened was this black fella committed a serious crime and he murdered this black girl. And what happened was he was banished to here and his totem was the emu. And he wasn't allowed to leave this cave that was here. And supposedly he went stir crazy in there and he just put his totem, as in the emu foot, everywhere, all the way through the cave. Now, how true it is, I don't know, but there's definitely markings of emu feet all through here. But there are a lot of them are worn away from people walking backwards or forwards, and also just the wear of the sandstone and whatnot here. But other than that, place is really, obviously a really special place, maybe for good or maybe for bad. But there's been a lot of stuff happened here. It's pretty awesome when you can get to a place like this. Now, in WA they call these nature's window, but a cave in this sort of area with that sort of scene behind you, pretty cool. But you can imagine back in the day, if that doorway was behind me was there, you would have definitely had this as a shelter to keep you huddled up. I'm guessing they would have had a fire in here and all that sort of stuff. But it's so good to see places like this. Shame about the graffiti on them, but it's good to see the place. We're on Hassan's wall here. This is the highest peak in Lithgow. Now, the name came from Governor Macquarie in 1803 when he was travelling through. He said it reminded him when he was in India. So that's the scene we've got here. Well, we've had an absolutely awesome time down here in Lithgow, but a little tip for the Queenslander, our blood isn't thick as what theirs is down here, and it's freezing down here in winter, but what an awesome place. So much to see and do, so many four-wheel drive tracks and places just to go and look at. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the adventure. Drop a comment down below and I'll catch you next time.